Hi, everyone. Welcome to Kiki and Kibitz. It's Mary, and I'm here today with Prison Brides. The season finale was last week, and we all have lots of questions still. So I am here with Andrea, and we're going to get into it. Thank you for joining us, Andrea. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's a
And
pleasure.
how are you today? I know you were running a little late, but
Yeah.
we have
Um,
traffic in both of our cities, right?
yes, it's been a busy day, hectic day for me too. But I was excited to come home and speak to you.
Yes, and I'm excited to speak to you. So we're going to get into our questions. First, I want to ask you, what made you decide that it was a good idea to tell your love story on national TV?
Oh, I love this question actually. It's a really good one. So, I have been contacted by the production, and I did my research thinking, I wasn't interested in something like, uh, basically, that's not true. So they explained to me, it's not a reality show, even though now watching it, it kind of seems like it, but I
Right,
understand. They have to make it seem somehow interesting for people to watch. So I get it. That's the television world.
of course.
So what made me say yes was I said, okay, this is a good thing for me to share Cage's story, to get it out there, because not necessarily that I am craving attention. I was not even in social media before. I never even posted anything about my relationship.
Okay,
So I get people saying, oh, she just wants her, 5 minutes of fame or whatever. Well, it's not like that, but I take everybody's side and I get it. Maybe I used to think the same of some people in the past watching TV. So I get it.
right,
But at the same time, I think it was a great opportunity for me to get attention for Cage's story and get his
right.
story out there. Yeah.
So now you say the Prison Brides producers approached you. Did
Yes, ma'am.
you hear about this? Did you hear about this show before? What did they say when they approached you? How did they find you?
How did they find me? So it's funny because I was contacted by many other shows, some that
Okay.
are already very pretty much known. That
Okay.
was like a few years ago. 2 years ago, I was signed with someone else, but that ended up not happening. Again, the only reason why I have accepted was because it's a docu series, and they reassured me it's just gonna be they're just gonna show that whatever's going on, the truth,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So how did they find me? I don't know how they found the other girls, but they found me through another prison wife
Okay.
at the time. That was a girl that I used to follow on social media, and she was in this world. She's not anymore. She's not in the prison life community, but she's kept asking me for over a year and a half. Andrea, like they are looking for, and I'm like, no, I'm not interested. Like, because they said it might be in the UK. It was a UK company with the producers in here in the UK and in America. I'm like, no, I don't really want to get that known. Like,
Right.
you know,
Right.
like no. So I kept saying no and no and no. And then she told me, look, we've got the green light and they are still searching for it. And I said, maybe this is a sign. If it keeps coming back to me, so of course I spoke to Cage and I asked him, what does he think about it? And he said, let's do it. As long as I want to do it, he's okay with it. So that's how I didn't go looking. I don't know how they looked for. I guess they reached out. It's easy if you have a platform like social media, they probably reached out to them that way. But
Exactly.
with me being so private, that's how they reached out, through someone.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you about the first time that you visited Cage. What thoughts were going through your head when you laid your eyes on him for the first time?
Oh my gosh. I got goosebumps.
Oh,
It was so unreal, and I couldn't. So I'm gonna tell you something. I didn't even have a driving license. I am terrified of driving, and
So am I, girl. We're
yes, I'm
sisters. So am I.
terrified. And I got my driving license because I knew once I get there, there's no Ubers. That was a 4,000 people town area, like
Yeah.
nothing. No
Yes.
Ubers, no nothing. And your girl got herself a driving. I just got it in the mail 3 days prior of flying over to America.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got there and I had another prison wifey that helped me and took me from the air. It was a whole mess. But the first time I got to see him, I've done a lot to go and see this person.
Right. You've been through
It
hell
was
and back, and now you're
hell
finally
and back,
there.
literally, yes. And I got there and I ran into it. Honestly, it didn't even bother me. You know, some girls are saying, "Oh, it's just the whole prison." Like, I was so happy and in like my own world. I did not care of. I'm like, this is. I don't care where I'm at. I'm gonna see him. So our first contact. Well, it wasn't a contact visit. It was through the glass,
Right.
and so it was, I got in there, I gave them my ID. First they didn't see me on the list for visitation. It took a while. I'm like, okay, now it is the time. But then again, you have to enter, I have to give. And then the lady's like, I was so happy, so hyper, you know. And I'm asking the lady, like, okay, is he there? And she's like, oh yeah, he's waiting there for you. I didn't even wait for her to finish her words, her sentence. I just run. They told me what number he's in. It was like in a booth. And I just run and I just couldn't believe my, like, for the first two visits, I was just like this.
Love struck, right?
So bad. I couldn't, like, I knew he was perfect. I've seen him on like the video visits we've had before,
Right.
but seeing him in person, I'm like, no, maybe I'm just in love, you know, maybe I see him that way. But just looking at him for the first time, I just, like, I kissed him through the glass and then we sat down and then like we were both like, so like, wow, you're even more perfect in person. And I'm like, wow. Yeah, it was something, honestly. It just feels, it's so weird for me to say. I've never thought I'll feel like, but it feels like home when I'm with him. It just feels peace. It feels like nothing in, like, nothing else is going on. The time just stops and
Right.
it's just him and I. And it's just, it's crazy.
You say that he makes you really, really happy. What qualities about him makes you really, really happy?
Oh gosh, he's first of all, he's so wonderful as a person. He has such a big heart and he taught me a lot. I can be very bitchy sometimes. I can be, and he knows that too. Like, we all have our ups and downs, and I love everything about him. But what I've seen in him is the way he is so thoughtful, you know, so thoughtful and so caring with his family, with how he loved his parent, like his mom, and how the little things, just him as a person. And I've learned a lot from him, how humble he is, you know, and how he's a grown man. He's been there
Right.
for a bit now.
Right.
It's 12 years this year, so it's been a while. He's a grown man and I'm so proud of him because he's in a place where it's basically a hopeless place, and
Right.
he's still there getting up every day, working out and being himself and being positive, which, you know, not many people can handle, like,
No, not
sentences. But
not many people have that mindset. No.
yeah, he's really strong. And what I have learned from him also is that, might sound crazy, but people that have large sentences
Hmm.
are the ones that really change. Like, they really change. I've learned that from him. But he's just he's so good with everything. Like, he's so thoughtful. Sometimes I'll be like, oh look, this person said this and that about me, and like, he won't take my side. He's very righteous. He will say, okay, but I need to hear the other side of the story. He's very righteous. And I'm like, Kate, you need to be on my side. Like,
Right.
no matter what.
Exactly. No matter
He's like,
what.
no, but he's so righteous and he's so loyal. And I just love that about him. And I get people saying like, oh, he's got time. I was not the only one that wrote him. He didn't even want a relationship because he didn't think it's realistic for the sentence he has.
Right.
So yeah, he's just amazing, honestly. And anybody that knows him would tell you the same.
How is your relationship with his parents?
Oh, I love his parents. I met them in person. I actually last year I surprised his mom for her birthday.
Oh,
She didn't even know I was showing up, and it was such a cute moment. Like, she's wonderful. She's like, in my eyes, she's a super strong woman to go through what she went through, and it's heartbreaking.
yeah, it is.
As a mom, I'm not a mom, but I can only imagine. And for her going through, and it's just, I love her. They're really sweet. I'm in good terms with everyone. I speak to everyone. I speak to his mom nearly all, like, every day.
That's great.
His dad is also awesome. He's a dentist. I went to see
Oh,
him.
that's
Uh,
great.
yeah, he's
Get the family discount,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
True.
Right.
Yes.
So I want to ask you about Mrs. Wendy. Okay,
Uh-huh.
she has been a huge part of your story. How much support has she been for you? How important was she during this whole process?
She's really wonderful. She's a tough woman. She's very admirable to me. I admire her a lot. And I think everybody that in the not only in the community but that knows Wendy is just, I love this woman. She's amazing. She's and I love her job. She makes people, despite their, like, she makes people happy, you know? And
Yes, yes.
it's so she's so strong, and she just makes people happy. And she's been such a support. She's been guiding me through everything, all the steps. And it's hard, especially not being there. Like, I keep, like, asking her many questions, and she's always there. She always reassures me it's gonna be okay. And it's just, she's been an incredible support. She has, yeah. And she
Now,
still is, yeah.
you say you're a private person. Um, who do you turn to for support when things are getting hard for you with Cage and your parents and the world is just crumbling down? Who do you turn to?
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't turn to anyone. I'm the type of person where I keep it to myself.
Okay.
Um, it's just that, let's say we're friends and we're going out, and I'll be your therapist.
Right.
But I won't tell you anything about me because I
Girl, I'm the
want to
same
make you
way.
happy.
I'm the same way.
I'm a Libra. What are you?
I'm a Aries. My birthday's
Oh,
next month.
it's an Aries. Oh,
Yes.
that's amazing. Oh, you guys are very, very stubborn.
Yeah. Oh, yes, we are.
No, but it's a really good question. I don't turn to anyone. I am usually the rock. The only person that I tell to and knows me, like, he knows me so well, is Cage.
Cage.
But I tend not to want to worry him just
Right.
because I know, but I end up telling him, I just had a very bad day or this and that. So he's the only person that I turn to. But even with him, I try not to put it all in him because he deals with prison every day, and every
Right.
day he has something going on, but he still makes sure to, you know forget about it for a few minutes while we're on the phone. So it's just me. If I'm my friend's therapist, if they go through something, if I'm going through something, I won't even, like, mention it.
Yeah.
I'm just
I
that way.
feel you, girl. Yeah, I
I am
feel
that
you.
way, yeah.
So this season, your parents, they had lots of concerns about your relationship.
Mhm.
Do you understand where the base of their concern was coming from?
I understand, but I cannot fully understand because I'm not a parent. So
Exactly.
I
Right.
get it. I totally get it, and it would be very not childish, but very selfish of me to say, "Oh no, like, it okay, so I just want people to see, to know one thing. They edit things. There
Oh,
is
yes.
hours and hours of, I've always been a little spoiled brat in the sense of I was the first newborn in the family, everybody spoiled me. It's not a good thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but me and my parents always had friends relationships. I was
Right.
raised by my grandmother, my mother's mom.
Okay.
And she was a very strong, tough woman, but I was her weakness. Like I would do whatever I want. And that's one thing I'm not gonna do with my kids. So I get it. What I'm trying to say is I get it. But at the same time, Cage makes me happy. And I have all the time this conversation with my parents, more with my mom than my dad. My dad is more like he's more of a softie when it comes to this. He is
Right.
very sensitive. But my mom will tell me, like, girl, are you like serious? Like, it's a long time. And then she comes back and she said, but you know what, this must be God. My parents are very religious,
Mm-hmm.
especially my mom. And then she's like, this has to be God, this has to be your path, this has to be your destiny. So I don't know if it's in like an auto mechanism for her to cope with the situation,
Right.
or maybe like, because she used to go to church and she would tell the priest, like, look, my daughter, like, she fell in love with this man, the young boy, and he's gorgeous, and this, because they love him. My mom loves him, and both my dad, but he's closer to my mom. But the thing is, it's tough, it's not easy, it's not an easy pillow to swallow. So
Right.
they are as supportive as they can be. I don't allow them to say nothing. I don't. That's the truth. Like,
Right.
Kate, like,
We've seen, a little bit of that
yes,
on the show. Yes.
it's true. It's true. But at the same time, I don't want to have regrets in my life. I always follow my heart. And if I'm gonna regret, at least I say, okay, but I did what I wanted to do at the time.
Right.
It's not guaranteed. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. Our relationship, we don't know. But as if today, I'm choosing him.
And
Yeah.
there you go, girl.
Yeah.
So your mom has spoken to Cage and they get along?
Times
Good.
they had video visits where I set it up
Oh,
for
that's
them to meet.
great.
Every time we're on the phone, he calls me, like, she says hi to him, they get to speak. He sends them Christmas cards,
Oh,
birthday
that's
cards,
nice.
drawings. He draw, like, yeah, they have a
Yeah,
good relationship.
good.
Yeah.
Now, one of your mother's other major concerns was that with the length of Cage's sentence, you wouldn't be able to have children.
Yes. Yes, that's
Now,
one
do
thing.
you think about that? Like, is that one of your concerns?
If, well, at some point, yes, I have. But I might sound crazy when I tell you this. I always thought when since I've met him, that there has to be something done in order for me to get him out of there faster.
Okay.
Why do I say this? Because a lot of things happen in his case, and at his trial, he had an experienced attorney at the time. He was judged based of race. He doesn't speak Spanish. His father was born and raised in the US. His
Right.
grandfather was Hispanic, right?
Hmm.
And they went over to the US when they were very young. And the thing is, they categorize him as Hispanic. They put his race as Hispanic. He doesn't speak Spanish, never did. And it's many things that happened that did not make sense at his trial. Like, I went through the transcripts, I went through everything. It's hard because he's been sentenced already,
Yeah.
and that's very, very hard. But I am willing to try and get him. His co-defendants, they got a sentence of 20 years max. 20. And they
Right.
were older than him. They were older. So there were like five of them. Sorry, I always get it messed up. They were over 18. He was 16 at the time. So they all said, oh, you know what, we're gonna blame it on him because he's the youngest and he's not gonna get in trouble much.
Right.
Well, that didn't happen the way they thought it was gonna happen. And it's just many things that were not right. Like, he was in the paperwork, it says that he was given a plea deal. He
Hmm.
was never given a plea deal.
Oh,
But
wow.
so there's many things and many routes we can take. I'm not saying yes, he did what he did, he's paying for it, he's a changed man, but they deserve second chances. He was 16 at the time, and
Right.
no one was hurt. That's the main thing. I don't want to sound bad, and I'm not trying to find an excuse. I believe he's done his time. There's people that are in prison and they have done heinous crimes and they got less time.
Yes. So true.
So So that's the thing where it doesn't make sense to me. I get it, it's sexist, but still doesn't make it right into my eyes.
Right. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. What advice would you give to someone else who is in a relationship with someone who is incarcerated?
Oh, you have to be strong. You have to be very strong. You have to be mostly an independent woman because you're going to be doing everything by yourself. Yes, they're a great support. Depending on the states, some of them they might support you. Some of them are allowed to work and make money. Like while on they can help you or they can help themselves where you don't have to financially help them. But you have to be very tough. Of course, we all have our days when it's
Mhm.
just a bad day. So you cry it all out with you or yourself or whoever if you share
Right.
it with
Yes.
people, but you have to be strong. It's not something I advise anyone to. I'm not romanticizing this lifestyle. I would not advise anybody to get into this, but just be strong. You have to be strong and you have to really think about it if this is something that you can do. It's not easy. It's not easy.
Are you eventually planning on settling in the United States?
In the near future, well, not so near, but when it's going to be near to him coming home,
Okay.
I am, just because let me explain you why. For him, let's say if he comes home in a few years, that we're waiting for this law to be passed in Texas, which is helping juveniles to go earlier parole, like they get
Okay.
go on parole earlier. So that means he can come home, but he's gonna be on parole for the rest of the sentence. So it's gonna be really, we're not gonna be able to travel much, or it's just gonna still like prison, but basically not prison.
Right,
So
exactly.
we're gonna need an approval to travel and all that. I don't even know if we're gonna be allowed to travel to other countries, but I have to. I have no choice. I
Right.
honestly, I love America, but it's scary. To me, it's a scary place, an European. But I have no choice because I have to. He
The
won't
man
be
you
able
love is
to.
here.
Yes, yes, ma'am. I won't be able to be anywhere else. Now, I would love to live in England with him, and he would love to move over to either England or Italy. My parents own a house there, and I have family in Italy, so I would love to, but I don't know. That's not realistic, if I'm being honest. So
Right.
another thing would be the flights and the money and all that, and I cannot just go every weekend and visit him. Now if I'm in Texas, I am able to take the weekend off and go and see him every weekend. Where I'm
Right.
here, it's kind of hard and expensive.
Exactly. Very expensive.
Yeah.
So, are there any misconceptions now that the show aired? Are there any misconceptions that you want to clear up?
Misconception, I like to let people wonder, and it's hard because people don't know me. So
Right.
they don't know who I am. So I cannot get upset and be like, oh, like, one thing they think is about all of us is, which in my opinion is very ignorant, that we are trying to move there for the visa. I want to clear up something. We don't need to find a man in prison. If we just want a visa, we can find a free guy and just get married and just make it 10,000 times more easier. Than
Right.
it's more hard to get a visa while you are with an incarcerated man. It's really really hard and very expensive. So, and we don't come from third world countries, to be honest with you.
Right.
We don't, it's not like that we have a lack of jobs, or we have everything we need. But for love, even though we might sound a lulu to you, or we're following our hearts, and
Andrea's in love with Cage, and nothing is going to change her mind.
yes ma'am, that's
She
right.
is following her heart. So,
Yes.
what are your goals for the next 5 years? Like, where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
5 years from now, well, I am we're planning to open a business in the near future.
What kind of business?
Well, we spoke about transport. My father has a transport trucking business.
Okay.
So either doing that over the US, or which we could help potential people that were incarcerated and are very, they struggle to find a job. So we could be creating a company where we can help ex-felons, obviously.
That is
uh,
fantastic.
yeah, that's something where and I would like to have my own foundation where I can help people. Like, there's a lot of incarcerated people that don't have anyone on the outside. They either have family that passed away, or family that doesn't want anything to do with them. And I didn't know all of these things until I got with Cage.
Right.
So I just want to help people. We want to help people. Cage is writing his own book at the moment, and just buying a house, creating a business, and just try and get him home sooner. That's the plan.
So,
Yeah.
so before I let you go, do you have a final message for the viewers?
I would say just be kind, be really kind, and don't think that you know everything based off a few minutes that you see on TV,
Exactly.
because it's not that way. But
They edit people, they edit. Remember, they edit these
oh yeah,
shows. I say
but
that all
I'm
the
very
time.
grateful. I'm very grateful for everybody that's been watching the show, and for all the support we've been receiving, because we have been receiving a lot of messages. So I just want to thank you all for, that's my dog, sorry.
Don't worry.
Yeah, thank you all and thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you
It's
for
a
joining
pleasure.
me. And it's been a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much,
Thank
Andrea.
you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching, and see you
Thank
guys
you.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.